Yes, it's true. I started my first business when I was 10 years old. What I noticed was in the early days of Atari and in television, uh, the games for us kids, there just wasn't a lot of them out there, and there was no way to rent them or anything like that. So the only way that you could get a new game is to save up a lot of money as a kid and buy it. And I thought to myself, that's crazy. Like, I have games and I could rent my games out and I could trade and borrow other people's games and rent them out to other people. So I started kind of doing this uh, basically shell game of renting games and things like that, and actually was pretty successful. I started buying a bunch of games. I actually stopped bringing my books to school because I had so many games in my backpack, and I was just trading games and renting games and had a whole system. It all came to an end though when the school found out about it and shut me down as a 10-year-old entrepreneur. Absolutely has been a theme in my life, entrepreneurship. Uh, One thing that comes to mind was a Christmas season. There were these dolls called Cabbage Patch Kids, and people were just going crazy about them. I think all over the United States, but I was in LA, and my brother was actually working at Toys R Us. So I made a deal with him that when the shipment came in and before they got put out on the shelves, I would have him give me a call and I would head down there on the bus, or if I could catch a ride with my folks, and I would buy up all these Cabbage Patch Kids, and then I would put a classified in the local paper saying I have these Cabbage Patch Kids, and I would mark them up considerably because people were going crazy and just wanted to buy them. So I had a series of things like that, but just as an entrepreneur, I guess I've always seen problems that people have. You know, the kids with the video games, the problem they didn't have money to buy games, so I rented to them for a smaller price. And then the problem of like parents, their kids wanted these Cabbage Patch dolls, but they couldn't get them, so I would buy them and sell them in the aftermarket. No, not at all. I would characterize myself as a greedy capitalist. I wasn't really concerned about other people's well-being as a young man. I was really into just making money, and I never thought about it in a way of how could it help other people. That happened at a much later date when I was in my mid 20s, and I'd made considerable amount of money for my age and was doing really well. And I just really felt empty. Like I remember landing this really big job that made me more money than I had ever made, and I just felt empty. And I had to do some real soul searching at that point. And what I found was that I had achieved what I call TV truth. Says, hey, if you accumulate this, you know, I was living at the beach, I married the woman of my dreams, I was driving the car that I wanted, and I was miserable. And I found out that just living life for yourself is pretty empty. Um, yeah, I mean, RedEye was started in 2004 to create a sustainable revenue source for what I would call empowerment charities. Um, you know, the question is, you know, pretty successful. not as successful as I'd hoped, but I'm still working every day to drive as much value to the farmers that we purchase coffee and tea from. Uh, how we try to minimize the impact that we have on the environment, and the empowerment charities that we support is what we call our triple bottom line. How we define profit. We have to have financial profit. Obviously, we have to pay our employees, which we want to pay them really well, and we have to pay our rent and our light bill. We got to pay the farmers and everything, and then also there's got to be money left over to be able to fund empowerment charities. That's really evolved over the past 15 years. One of the big questions that we talk about when we want to fund a project is it going to empower someone to basically experience freedom, take control of their own life? That's things that we are really dedicated toward. Things that I'm super proud of that RedEye has been able to be part of is a nursing school in Haiti that Haitians have been we were able to help fund Haitians going to nursing school, and they were able to get a job and take care of their community. And one of the really cool things is some of those Haitians continued their education and then came back, and the school has evolved to Haitians teaching Haitians. And those are the kind of things that we are really excited about. There's other things that we've tried, some angel investing, like in a fishing business, and the boat sank about a month after we invested in it. So, they were able to get the boat back and everything, but and he's doing much better, and but just different things that instead of giving people money, giving them a way, or empowering them to take control of their own future. That's really exciting for us at RedEye. Yeah, Newman's Own, I think, is the most virtuous company in the United States. I just am so excited about them. They have been an inspiration to me. Being part of Newman's Own, what they call the philanthropic enterprise network, is one of the greatest honors that I have received, to be able to work with this amazing company that has ethically sourced food, that it's earth friendlier, and that 100% of their profits go to empowerment charities. Sound familiar? Has been a huge inspiration. Some would say I just flat out copied what they're doing. To date, they've given over $500 million to empowerment charities. That's not RedEye's story yet, but I believe we can work diligently and work toward that. And that's super exciting to me. But I'm super thankful for the Newman's Own Foundation and the Newman's Own Company. They've been extremely generous with their time and their networks to help RedEye. I always laugh about this. I teach entrepreneurship at Florida State for the Jim Moran School of Entrepreneurship, and I do not teach teach the students based on how RedEye started. I call RedEye my accidental company. Really, no thought went into it. It started out as kind of a glorified fundraiser. I met a local coffee roaster who didn't know how to sell coffee, and I didn't know how to roast coffee. So I just struck a deal with them and said, hey, can I buy some coffee and I'll just bag it and I'll sell it to my friends and my family, like the Girl Scouts sell cookies, essentially, and I'll give all the money away to local and global empowerment charities. And that's about as much thought as went into it. I look now at having 7 locations and massive roaster and a commercial kitchen and 80 employees, and I just I'm just amazed at what has happened. It's been quite a journey. Our first location is in an area called Midtown in Tallahassee. It opened in 2009 and in January, 5 years after I started the company. We had an opportunity to buy some equipment from a coffee shop that was going out of business. And so the location kind of picked us again. Somebody called me and just said, "Hey, you've been like selling coffee. You want to try to do a brick and mortar?" And I thought, you know what, I think I can make this work. So we bought the old equipment, we signed a lease, and knowing nothing about retail coffee or anything, we opened up, and 10 years later, now we have the 7 locations and the roaster and the commercial kitchen and 80 employees. Just been kind of a wild ride. Yeah, RedEye has in cash given a bit over $100,000 to local and global empowerment charities. We also, over the years, have donated about 10,000 cups of coffee to different nonprofits per year to support their nonprofit events, to help them be successful and things like that. We've also done a lot of community partnerships where we've been able to drive some extra dollars to charities through uh, different events and things like that. RedEye doesn't do a lot of traditional advertising. We have done some. One thing that I've heard a lot is that people don't really understand what we're trying to do. They don't understand the ethical trade aspect of our mission, like how that's super important to us, just the ethical treatment and trade with farmers. Also, our desire to try to have earth-friendlier practices. Uh, so we've done some Facebook ads, and I don't know if we've ever done any Instagram ads, but we do social media. It's something that we're working on to do better, just to tell our story. We've actually have some people at FSU, students that have reached out and just said, like, we think you guys have a great story. We want to help you tell it, which is one of the cool things about RedEye is it really is a community effort. It's just all of us coming together trying to do good in the world through something that most people like to do: drink coffee and drink tea and eat pastries. So it's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I got some videos of like trying to explain what we're trying to accomplish, and we've done a little bit of radio advertising, not like come drink coffee, but like just trying to tell our story and explain what we're doing. One of the big challenges is that most people who come to Red Eye, they really like, they're good people, but they don't come because of the mission. They come because they like the coffee, they like the environment, it's convenient, and it took me a while to be okay with that. Because I want everybody to be passionate about farmers, and I want people to be passionate about the earth, and I want people to be passionate about like empowerment charities. But the reality is, very few people I mean, they care about that, but it's not like maybe the deciding factor. So I have a lot of inner struggle with that because to me, really, RedEye is not about the coffee or the tea or the pastries. It's about the people. It's about the people we purchase the coffee from, the farmers. It's about the people who live in the environments that we're farming in, trying to minimize waste and things like that, and about the people that we're trying to resource and empower through the profits. So uh, that's kind of a babbling answer to, do we do advertising? I'm not against it, but also it's hard for me to pay for advertising because that takes away from the money that we could actually give away. So, it's one of these things you got to manage the tensions. Well, I just shared about how bad we've done with our website and our Instagram and everything. Uh, yeah, you know what? Like I said, we had a group of FSU students who took pity on how bad we were doing and have volunteered as interns and to help us tell our story better. So we're very grateful for anybody who wants to help us. Again, this is the accidental company. We're not really slick, and we need all the help we can get. Uh, Again, this is this is something that I want to do really well, and I want to do these things well, but um, in a lot of ways, sometimes you're like doing the work that you forget to tell the story. So this telling the story is very, very important, and we're thankful for anybody who helps us tell the story. I really don't think about the people I work with as employees. I look at them as fellow team members who are trying to make good on our promise. Our promise is every time you purchase a RedEye product, you're making the world a better place. All of our coffee and tea are environmentally friendly and ethically traded, and 100% of our profits, store profits, go to local and global empowerment charities. And to me, I want people, like, we pay our people, but I want people to be there because they believe in the mission, not because they need a paycheck. There's lots of places that you can work, and I don't want people to work at RedEye. I want people who want to serve other people, who want to serve humanity, who want to make their work about making the world a better place. And that's super important to me. Sometimes, like in meetings and stuff like that, we talk about the difference between missionaries and mercenaries. And missionaries are true believers in the mission and what we're trying to accomplish. And mercenaries are people who are just there for a paycheck. And for me, I don't like working with mercenaries. I understand sometimes you need a mercenary to fill a hole, but I love working with missionaries. Best advice that I can give somebody starting out in business is validate your idea. Go out and try to sell somebody your idea. If nobody buys, then there's no need to start a business around it. Also, I think the best thing that an entrepreneur could possibly do is build a team. Uh, no one person is smart enough or talented enough to do everything that needs to be done in a business. And to build a team around you that uh, you enjoy being around, that challenge you, who think and see things much differently than you do is really, really valuable. Probably the third thing that I would just say, once you've started your business, is you got to nail your systems before you scale it. I've learned that the hard way. We had several really hard years where I didn't know if we were going to make it or not, because we had expanded and we had made some poor employment choices, team member choices, and who were rowing in a different direction, and it was really, really tough. So validate, build a world-class team in every position. Really be generous with them. To me, giving people equity and ownership is empowerment and makes them part of the team, the right people. And then again, nail it before you scale it, because if you scale before you have your systems, those little cracks in your organization are going to bust wide open, and it may put you out of business, and nobody wants that.